The Oklahoma City Thunder defeated the San Antonio Spurs 122-113, squaring the series at 1 game apiece. This was a hard-nosed, physical, grinded-out type of contest. It's exactly the kind of game I said OKC needed to come out with right from the opening tip in Game 2, right? They played with so much more purposeful speed, more aggressiveness, more physicality. They kept forcing San Antonio into mistakes and discomfort. In the previous game, San Antonio dictated every single moment. Every single moment of that contest. They were completely in command. This time around, OKC, look, I know there were a ton of lead changes, but OKC was 100% in control and played basketball exactly the way they wanted to. They weren't reacting like they were in Game 1. In Game 2, the Spurs were forced to be the reactive ones, constantly having to answer back. The turnovers, again, as soon as San Antonio would commit a live ball turnover, as Reggie pointed out throughout the entire broadcast, it was just hit the floor and sprint. Hit the floor and sprint. Hit the floor and sprint. Obviously, a significantly stronger performance from SGA as well. Dropping 30 points on 12-for-24 shooting. 9 assists as well. He was excellent at setting up his teammates. But really, Hartenstein, he's clearly who stood out to me the most. And this is certainly going to irritate Spurs fans, and I'm trying to figure out the best way to have this conversation. I'll address it more later in the day, essentially next day, Thursday, depending on when you're watching this video, when I make another OKC video and another Spurs video, because this is just the immediate post-game reaction. Clearly, the strategy was not just about physicality. It's essentially, I don't care if you commit fouls. I've been part of games like this where I was coached to do exactly this, and I've seen coaches tell other players the same thing. It's pretty much, I don't care how many fouls you accumulate at this point. I don't care if you even foul out. The plan is for you to be as physical and as tough as you possibly can be. As physical and as tough as you can possibly be, trying to get away with as much as the officials will allow. And I'm going to trust you, depending on what the actual mentality was. Because they were talking earlier about how Hartenstein might not even play that many minutes. Like, how are they going to handle this? And one mindset was basically, yeah, you know what? We're going to force him to be as physical as possible. If he's not getting many foul calls against him and he's getting away with a lot, then that's a huge net positive. If not, and he fouls out, well, he's still wearing Wembanyama down and causing him problems the whole time. And once he's gone, he's gone. Or the alternative is, we want you to play this way, but I'm going to trust you once you get to 3 fouls, 4 fouls, or 5 fouls. I trust your ability to play while in foul trouble. And I've received that kind of coaching when going up against elite players. It's, I want you to be as physical as possible. I don't want you worrying about trying not to foul. Just be tough. Just go hard. And then I'll trust that down the stretch, when you're in foul trouble, you'll play smarter. And that's exactly what we saw from Hartenstein. That was very clear to me. The broadcast kept pointing out all the grabbing, the pulling, the hand-holding. It was relentless, relentless, relentless. And he ended up with 4 personal fouls, but the guy probably committed about 15 fouls. And it's not just it's the playoffs, so they let them play. Again, this was a deliberate intention. I wouldn't even say it was Hartenstein's own intention, this was a deliberate coaching decision. This was coaching. This is how I want you to go after it. This is what we're doing. You see that approach somewhat commonly when facing Wembanyama and the Spurs. We saw it a bit with Minnesota, constantly trying to agitate him. But again, I still remember one of my coaches telling me this and actually saying it to another player, basically, just keep going, going, going. I remember the player asked, aren't I going to foul out? And the coach said, just go, go, go. Because the coach ultimately didn't care if that guy fouled out. He didn't care if I fouled out. He didn't care because it was essentially, you're going to help us most by agitating and wearing down that other player right now, right? Not by staying out of foul trouble. Lou and playing more neutral basketball. And that's exactly what Hartenstein was, so much of that was right there. So much of it right there. Yeah, I mean, obviously, Williams going down, 7 minutes, 4 points, clearly not ideal. I do find it interesting. I know Jared McCain got hot and had some big moments, especially against the Lakers. I do wonder if there's a little too much reliance on McCain right now. 4 for 14. I'm just not so sure I want Jared McCain to be the second option there, right? Taking the second most shots. I'd rather have Caruso. I mean, as you can even see, Caruso is way more efficient. 5 for 7, 3 for 4 from 3, 4 for 4 from the line, plus 18. And you have Jared McCain at 4 for 14. Taking 9 threes and making 3 of them. So, I question that a little bit moving forward. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Jared McCain and loved what he was doing before, but I just question the sustainability of that a little bit. I just wonder if that's a bit too much in this immediate moment, personally. He's still doing a lot of the little things, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals. So again, obviously a great contributor. But yeah, I don't know. You can see the confidence growing in Jared McCain, and I honestly have a similar issue with Castle. I mean, Castle kept them in the game for long stretches, but he was playing way too much isolation and forcing up really tough, contested, bad shots. He made some very difficult ULT shots, but again, he also had another 9 turnovers. And credit to OKC's defense, but a lot of that was just sloppy basketball from Castle. Sloppy ball from Castle. Castle was trying to make a statement. It was almost like, oh, I saw what Wemby did. Look what I can do now. And it was, seemingly a little too much. And then of course, now Harper goes down, and I don't know what any of the updates are on Harper. So everyone is wearing down right now, and that's a problem, especially with Williams and the hamstring issue. Hamstrings linger, and they're so easily re-aggravated. That's the biggest problem. We see this in football all the time. With hamstrings, you have to really wait, even if you feel pretty good or whatever. You have to really wait because they're so easily re-aggravated, and when they are re-aggravated, it's essentially hitting the reset button, right? It's just hitting the reset button. It's a little different with the calf, where the big risk is potentially blowing out your Achilles. Hamstrings linger, and they're so difficult to figure out, where am I? Am I ready? Am I good? And once you've aggravated a hamstring, the ability to re-aggravate it is just a snap of the fingers. Then you're caught in this cycle, okay, I'm feeling pretty good, but if I play this game, will I re-aggravate it? And then I miss the next 3 or 4 games. It's a tricky situation. So I don't know if they're being extra cautious or what the story is, but it's definitely 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. It's a frustrating situation. Obviously, OKC was able to deal with it, but still not ideal nonetheless. Yeah, I mean, this game pretty much unfolded exactly how I was expecting in terms of physicality and officiating. The NBA wants this series to be 1-1. They want to go back to San Antonio with the series tied. They don't want it to be 2-0. They want this to be a back-and-forth matchup, and both teams are more than happy to oblige and answer the call here. So this was a big response by OKC. The score again, even though San Antonio would go on a run and close the gap, tie the game, or maybe take the lead or whatever, OKC was still ultimately in control. They were still ultimately in control. And even in the latter half of Game 1 the other night, even though I said San Antonio controlled that whole game in terms of dictating how they wanted to play, when things got tense down the stretch and in the double overtimes, San Antonio was able to execute better in those moments, and OKC just couldn't. But they still felt like they wanted to play. They were better at dictating the terms and conditions at that point, and we saw that continue in this game. And that's why I said when OKC lost, I was less concerned about them losing that game. If San Antonio had lost, that would have been a devastating loss. And I simply didn't see it as devastating for OKC. And yeah, that's really what we're seeing. This is the championship pedigree of this team. That's why I even pointed out Jared McCain there, just because I'd like to see some of the more experienced guys execute. Again, Alex Caruso is playing out of his mind. He is absolutely on fire. In a game like this, I expect him to take more shots than Jared McCain, especially considering how Game 1 unfolded and then into Game 2. But I also thought SGA was great. He obviously wanted to have a bounce-back game. He didn't force it. He didn't insert himself in areas where he shouldn't have. He never tried to do too much. He was always under control. Still very much played his brand of basketball without a doubt. And yeah, I just think overall it was a great game plan by OKC. They all understood the assignment. They didn't let Game 1 linger. They clearly have fresher legs. That is just so obvious. I think it'll probably eventually even out because eventually you do reach a kind of critical mass with fatigue. They had a big advantage in these first two games because of sweeping their previous series and getting all that extra rest, while San Antonio has a lot more wear and tear on them throughout the playoffs in general. But I do think once you start playing, once you have a couple of these games under your belt, that mismatch doesn't just continue to grow or stay apart. It does have a way of balancing out a little bit. So I imagine that will balance out some, but you could just see it. San Antonio is tired. They are fatigued. They are fatigued in a way that OKC simply is not right now. Not right now. And I'm curious how much longer that advantage will last. Even looking at the minutes, for the most part, they were pretty balanced. 27, obviously SGA with 38, but 16, 7, 10, 25, 10, 25, 26, 28. They're fresh. They are much fresher. Meanwhile, you've got 36, 37, 38, 38. Yeah, I'm proving my point right now in real time. I'm just literally reading off the box score minutes. And you see it on the court. You absolutely see it on the court. So I'm curious to see if that balances out anymore, and if there's just a slightly different distribution of minutes for San Antonio, or if the rest imbalance kind of catches up, and whether that happens by Game 3, Game 4, or beyond. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you all think about OKC taking down San Antonio 122-113? I mean, this game was pretty much a back and forth, close contest the entire time. So whatever the final score ended up being is really irrelevant. But yeah, this was a great game. It definitely had a completely different energy than the game before. Everything felt less do or die. And SGA and OKC were just under control. They were completely under control from start to finish. And it was an impressive watch. So let me know your thoughts. I read every single comment. Whether you agree with me or disagree, either way, let's get into some discussions. Let's get into some argument. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. Please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here. I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be a part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It really does help with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.